Hey, everybody. It's your girl, Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic. I am in my pajamas, y'all, because I'm getting ready for the holidays, getting ready for Christmas. So I wore my Christmassy pajamas tonight in honor of the holidays hitting us fast and furious. If this is your first time joining me, give me a big thumbs up. If you are on YouTube, subscribe to the channel because you never know who you might see here. And yeah, that's it. This is episode 193. We will hit 100, not 100, we will hit episode 200 when the New Year rolls around, closer to like, I think Valentine's Day is when that show, and I got rolls around, and I got some really nice surprises in store for you for that. I want to welcome Brandon, my diehard, tried and true, to the chat room. Hey, Brandon. Brandon has gone to see Spider-Man No Way Home, and he went to see, and he's seeing Sing 2 next. And he says, what does he say? He says that he saw it in IMAX and it was the best of the Tom Holland era. And this ranks with his other Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, and he's seeing Sing 2 in a couple of days. So thank you, Brandon, for joining us. I usually start out the show talking about what I did last week and what's going on. But before I get to any of that, I need for y'all to be extra vigilant this holiday season. Wash your hands, wear your mask, try not to be with people that have not been vaccinated, because that is how things are getting spread. We're starting to see Hollywood and Broadway shut down again. There's 9 shows that have shut down on Broadway. Jagged Little Pill, the Alanis Morissette musical, is shut down for good. And I have a feeling it's going to be the first in a long line of shows that are going to have to shut down for good if this keeps spreading. And Hollywood has shut down a lot of events leading into the pre-award season as well. So you guys, please, please, please be mindful, not necessarily for yourself, but for those around you, especially those you love. Okay, that's my unannounced service announcement for the evening. All right, so last week, I attended the premiere of The Tragedy of Macbeth, which is a Denzel Washington film. He stars in it, and he is fantabulous. It's him and Frances McDormand, and it's directed by Joel Coen, Frances's husband. And I'll get into the review about that a little bit later. I also did some reviews, some interviews with Al Jazeera about that Hollywood Foreign Press Association and how they're dealing with diversity. I also spoke with The List. Speaking of Denzel, we're going to be talking about Denzel Washington a lot during this show. I spoke with The List, which is an online joint about 3 fabulous things about Denzel Washington. So if you go online to The List on any of their social media platforms, you'll see that interview that we did. And tomorrow I'll be speaking with them about the Scream franchise. So I'll put that up on my social media so that if you can't find it, you can always find it on my page. And, we're winding down 2021 with all of that. So that is what my week was like, because the year's winding down, so activities have come to a screeching halt, or a crawl, so to speak, and people will start hitting it full throttle when January 2022 comes around. I can't even believe I'm saying that. This year went hella fast. But let's get right into it. The first film I want to talk about is a film called The Tender Bar. It is on Amazon. It's going to be on, what is on Amazon Prime. It's been there since December 17th. It's directed by George Clooney. It stars Ben Affleck, Ty Sheridan, Lily Robb, Christopher Lloyd, and Brianna Middleton. And it has already garnered a Golden Globe nomination for Ben Affleck. Now, this is the thing. It's about this boy who is seeking a replacement for his father that kind of ends up being his uncle Charlie, who is played by Ben Affleck, and the patrons of the bar in Long Island, where Uncle Charlie is the owner and a bartender there. He knows all the staff and all the regular patrons. He's very charismatic, this guy is, and all of his friends are all eager to initiate Junior, which is Ty Sheridan's character, into their rituals. He ends up, and he's being raised by a single mom, played by Lily Robb. This is what I got from The Tender Bar. The Tender Bar is a really tender story. Did you see the pun there? Are you listening? Are you watching, Amanda? I tried to do a pun. It didn't work, but I had to try anyway. Oh, Lord, I'm crazy. Anyway, so it's a tale of how important it is to have a male presence in your life in those formative years, because they can have a huge impact on what kind of man you become. And the same thing goes for women. But in this particular case, we're talking about a young man. His single mom is pushing him to be more and want more than he could ever see his life ever have, even imagine his life being, and that ends up coming true. And Ben Affleck is that uncle. Y'all know the uncle or the auntie or the sister or the cousin, the one that we all have, the one that we all love, and the one that we miss immensely when they're gone. And for me, that was my Uncle Buzzy. If it were not for my Uncle Buzzy, I don't think I'd be sitting here talking to y'all really straight up. And he's no longer with us. He's up there, but I miss him every day. There's not a day in my life that goes by that I don't think about my Uncle Buzzy or I don't talk about him. And this is what Uncle Charlie was for Junior in this film. It's a great nostalgia trip through Long Island during the 70s. It's hilarious. And it's also a story about how you have that first love, what that first love is like, and how you recover from losing that first love, and getting over that loss, because it's an insurmountable loss. When you love somebody for the first time, you feel like your life is coming to an end, that you'll never get over them and all of that. But life goes on. You do get over them, and it ends up becoming an excruciatingly wonderful life lesson for you. So if you have not seen The Tender Bar, please check it out. It's a lovely, lovely story, and I enjoyed it very much. The King's Man, which is being produced by 20th Century Studios. It will be in theaters this week on December 22nd. It is written and directed by Matthew Vaughn. It stars Ray Fiennes as Orlando Oxford, Jaimin Hunsu as Shola, and Rhys Ifans as Rasputin. This is an origin story that starts in the early years of the 20th century. The Kingsman Agency is formed to stand against a cabal plotting a war to wipe out millions of people. Now, y'all, I am always down for a good spy movie. I am. I'm good down for a good spy movie. Let me start about what I did like, and then I'll get to the other stuff. It was beautifully shot. I get that the premise is supposed to be a spy, family infused film. I do, but I got some issues with that. The costumes are great. The performances are great, even though most of the performances are over the top. And it's about 30 minutes too long, especially those fight sequences that repeatedly provide false endings. So let me tell you what I didn't care for when it came to The Kingsman. I understand that this is a franchise movie, and it wasn't a franchise movie that I was excited about to begin with, hence probably my feelings now. But I had a problem with the fact that it starts in South Africa and you don't see any Black people, or you see one of 10, including Jaimin Hunsu. I'm like, how are you going to do a film that's starting in South Africa and you don't see no Black people? That was the first problem I had. The second problem I had is that it was just too long. And those fight sequences that I talked about that were too long, there is this fight sequence with the guy that plays Rasputin. It's crazy and as entertaining as it is, it had about 3 false endings. I'm like, I'm going to need for this fight to end. And I'm going to need for this film to end. That is 2 hours and some change that I will never be able to get back. And I usually don't talk about movies like that, y'all. I don't. But oof, that one wore me out. It truly wore me out. So again, it hits theaters by way of 20th Century Studios, is written and directed by Matthew Vaughn, and is called The King's Man, starring Ray Fiennes and Jaimin Hunsu. Now, Sing 2. Listen, y'all know I love me some talking and singing animals. I could watch that all day long. And it's corny, and I know it's corny, and I know it's silly, but I don't care. We have been in a pandemic for 2 years, getting ready to go on 3. And sometimes you just got to laugh at something stupid. So Sing 2 comes to us by way of Illumination Studios. It hits theaters on 12/22. It's directed and written by Garth Jennings, and it deals with Buster Moon and his friends who try to persuade this old reclusive rock star Clay Calloway to join them for the opening of a new show. Now, there's several things about, and it stars Reese Witherspoon, Matthew McConaughey, Tori Kelly, among others. This is what I love about it. I'm a Broadway girl, so the premise that these little animals, this little ragtag troupe of animals that has been doing regional theater, wants to get their show to to Broadway is just a premise that I kind of love, and is super cute and super fun. It's a lesson in how when you go for something that scares you, that the results may always surprise you. So never be afraid to go for something, no matter what the outcome is going to be. You will be surprised and you'll actually learn something from it. And like I said, I love me some talking and singing animals. So Sing 2 comes to theaters on 12/22. Now, this year, y'all, it is 75 years of the holiday classic, It's a Wonderful Life. I love this movie so much. So I'm gonna do my curvy classic with It's a Wonderful Life, and I'm gonna bring you 10 top, not top 10, but 10 great facts about the movie. So whenever I do the curvy classic, I always talk about some really cool things that happened throughout the film or happened during the filming or during the course of the filming of the movie, right? So instead of Jimmy Stewart, just imagine it. Instead of Jimmy Stewart, we almost had Cary Grant starring in It's a Wonderful Life. So this is what happened. When RKO Pictures purchased the rights, they did so with the plan of having Cary Grant in the lead. But as it happens so often as it does in Hollywood, the project went through some ups and downs in the development process. And in 1945, after a number of rewrites, RKO said the movie rights sold the movie rights to Frank Capra, who quickly recruited Jimmy Stewart to play George Bailey, and we know him to be the George Bailey that's been in that film for 75 years. Now, James Stewart was nervous about the phone kiss scene because it was the first on-screen kiss since he had returned to Hollywood after the war. Under Frank Capra's direction and watchful eye, he filmed that scene in only one unrehearsed take, and it worked so well that part of the embrace was cut because it was too passionate for the censors at that time. Isn't that hilarious? I kind of love that. Um, Dalton Trumbo, Dorothy Parker, Mark Connolly, and Clifford Odets all did uncredited work on the script. Now, there's some drama that happened with the script. Let me see if I can find where that one is. Okay, so the husband and wife writing team of Francis Goodrich and Albert Hackett found Frank Capra disagreeable and difficult to work with, and they were pissed off when they found out he had rewritten their script. So they filed an arbitration with the Writers Guild to have Frank Capra's name taken off the script. To this day, it remains on. Can you imagine how you sue somebody for the script and that you never get credit for it? That happened again with something else that Dalton Trumbo did, but that was because of the blacklist, and that's a whole nother conversation. The set for Bedford Falls was constructed in 2 months, and it was one of the longest sets that had ever been made for an American movie. It covered 4 acres of RKO's Encino Ranch. It included 75 stores and buildings, a main street, a factory district, and a large residential and slum area. Main Street alone was 300 yards long. And if you're wondering how long 300 yards is, that's 3 whole city blocks. I'm like, yes, for the trivia. I kind of love that. Now, in movies these black and white movies back in the day, there was always something really cool about how they would do rain or snowflakes. So for this one, Frank Capra, who I didn't know this, was trained as an engineer, and special effects supervisor Russell Sherman engineered a new type of artificial snow for the film. At the time, painted cornflakes were mostly common to use for fake snow, but they posed a bit of an audio problem for Frank Capra with this film. So he and Sherman opted to mix foamite, the stuff that you find in fire extinguishers, with sugar and water to create a less noisy option. I found that to be fascinating just because I'm a little geeky and a little techie. So I found that to be really fascinating. What I also found to be fascinating is A Wonderful Life takes place in the winter of 1946. It takes place in the winter, but it was shot in the summer of 1946 in the midst of a heat wave in the valley in Encino. Anybody that has lived in the valley in Encino, which is where I live consequently, it's hot as hell out here in the summertime. So imagine them with all them coats and furs and things. That's a lot going on. And though it is a quintessential American classic, it was not an immediate hit with audiences. The same thing has been said for The Wizard of Oz. And both of these films now are like classic films. Like everybody loves those films. In fact, Frank Capra put that film $525,000 in the hole, which left him scrambling to finance his production company's next picture, State of the Union. Money, money, money. And last but not least, do you know how It's a Wonderful Life started? It started from a Christmas card. So, after years of unsuccessfully trying to shop his short story, The Greatest Gift, to publishers Philip Van Dorn Stern, decided to give the gift of words to his closest friends for the holidays when he printed up 200 copies of the story and sent them out as a 21-page Christmas card. David Hempstead, a producer at RKO Pictures, ended up being one of the people that got a hold of it and purchased the movie rights for It's a Wonderful Life for 10 grand. So I just always find that when we have films like this, I find it so fascinating, the background story for it, because it's always something that we don't know, something that we haven't heard, and something that we don't expect. So that was my little homage to 70 years of the Christmas classic, It's a Wonderful Life. And if you haven't watched it yet this holiday season, I'm sure you'll check it out soon enough. All right. So I said we're going to be talking about Denzel Washington a lot today. And here we go with another Denzel Washington joint. Denzel Washington is a director. As we all know, he's an actor slash director. And he is hitting screens again, directing with a film for Columbia Pictures and Braun called A Journal for Jordan on Christmas Day. This film is based on Dana Kennedy's essay, which describes a 200-page journal her fiance, Sergeant Charles Monroe King, wrote for their son. The 48 This is based on a true story, and this 48-year-old soldier was killed in Baghdad in October, 1 month shy of finishing his tour of duty, marrying Dana, and he had left for the Middle East right before his son was born. This film is so romantic and so yummy and so lovely, and it doesn't work without Shantae Adams and Michael B. Jordan, who respectively play Dana Kennedy and Charles Monroe King. If it were not for their performances and their energy and their chemistry, this film doesn't work, because the film is telling the love story of two people who love their son enough to have a journal made for him so that he would know where he comes from and know his father's thoughts, even though his father wasn't here in the physical form to give it to him. When I tell you, I left that, I didn't cry when I was in the theater, because I knew that if I started crying, it was going to be inconsolable and it was going to be ugly, and I needed to like make some noise. I went to the car after this movie and I sobbed and sobbed. It shows you the importance of keeping a journal, and writing down your thoughts and leaving those thoughts behind for people that you love, because there are things that go on and swirl around inside your brain that they'll never know. And now, Charles and Dana's son will always know how Charles felt about him, about them. It gave her a chance to, revisit how they fell in love and how their son came to be. It's a beautiful, beautiful story. Um, Dana Kennedy, y'all, she is like the MVP of moms. Like, I can't imagine a woman going through what she went through and still have her wits about her. This is a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist who used to work at the New York Times when all of this was going on. And she's an amazing human being. I hope that I can even come close to being half the woman that she is. She's absolutely amazing. And it also shows that falling in love doesn't have an expiration date. Just because Charles lost his life doesn't mean that Dana lost her love for him or for her kid. And of course, ladies, there's always that butt shot of Michael B. Jordan is just for you, and you will live for all of that. I had to bring it around and make it funny at the end, because y'all like, ooh, this is deep. Am I crying with her talking about it? Yeah, that part. So again, A Journal for Jordan, directed by Denzel Washington, starring Michael B. Jordan and Shantae Adams, is coming to theaters via Braun and Columbia Pictures on Christmas Day. Now, y'all, The Matrix Resurrections. I'm a Matrix fan. I love me some Matrix. This is the fourth chapter in the process, and I had an opportunity to talk to Priyanka Chopra Jonas twice. Once for the cherry picks, which will be up momentarily, and once for here, the Curvy Critic. So, and that interview with the cherry picks is a little more in depth and a little more on the nose about the film, but this one is a little different. We laugh and we say some things that are crazy, but I will talk about the film after you take a look and a listen to this interview with Miss Priyanka Chopra Jonas, aka Sati, from The Matrix Resurrections. Loving the outfit.
Thank
The
you.
tiger print, leopard print thing is happening.
Thank you. I was looking at your background. It's so cute, your wall.
Thank
So well
you.
lit too. Very strategic lighting. I
Yes,
see
girl.
you.
You know, we people of color, we gotta have some light. I can't be up in here looking like a raisinette.
We do.
So, um, this is a very, very high action movie. And normally I've seen you in things like Quantico where you are kicking butt and taking names. Did you feel a little left out, like, Rudolph not playing any reindeer games, not being involved in the action in that sort of sense with this
No,
particular chapter of the
because
movie?
like you said, like with Quantico or whether I was doing this TV show called Citadel right now for Amazon. Well, it's a limited for Amazon. So much stunts and so much physicality that I actually loved the fact that in the Matrix movie, with all of this mayhem that's happening, every time you cut to Sati's character, there's tranquility and there's, peace and there are birds chirping. And I think there's something really special about that. So I actually felt that it was very special.
What was it like the day you got the call letting you know that you were going to be part of this franchise? Were you totally geeked out?
I did. I did. I actually got the call. I got a call back from my agent, and he said, Lana wants to meet you. And I was like, oh, cool. What? Great. And he was like, tomorrow in San Francisco, and I was in India.
Oh
So
no.
I was like, I drove to the airport, got onto a flight, went directly from the airport to her office, and met her, talked about the character, and like really, sort of sold it for an hour. And she turned around and told her assistant Amy, bring it. And she brought a freshly printed script with my name on it that said, and she said, welcome to the Matrix. So that was really cool. And I love telling that story. And I got out of, the studio, her office, and I held the script to my chest because I didn't want anyone seeing what it was because it was such a secret. Um, and then I called my family and I told everyone that car ride was really fun.
Okay, so it was a secret, but how did you keep that secret from your hubby?
He didn't even ask me what was in the script. He knew that I was doing the movie. He was very excited about that, but he knew that he was going to watch it, and he didn't ask any questions. I couldn't tell him.
Okay,
I'm
because I have
sworn to
some.
secrecy.
I know, because the Matrix is like those Star Wars joints, those Marvel joints. Then you cannot be like dropping any hints, nothing like that. So I was like, oh, she's married. I wonder how that works, and how you keep it from him to keep him from keeping it from other people. You know what I mean?
Oh, my husband is a vault. He's not someone he would keep my secrets for sure.
I kind of love that. All right, for the tight marriage situation, we kind of love somebody that can keep their mouth shut. In that sense, anyway. I'm just saying. Um, I know I'm terrible. um,
I just laughed really loudly at that. I don't know what I was thinking.
Listen, it was funny
It
because
was
I'm
funny.
funny. What we gonna do?
You're funny.
So you've done these action things. You're doing the Matrix, where it's a little bit more of a spiritual character. What dream role is left for you to embark upon that you haven't done yet?
Oh my gosh, so many. Ever since I started working in the States, what I want to do now is to be able to sort of explore myself as an actor, push myself, challenge myself. I had the good fortune of being able to do that in the Indian film industry, where I worked with the most prolific filmmakers and did multiple genres of work. And, now I want to sort of start doing that on this side of the pond as well. So I feel like there's so much that I want to do.
Well, I'm looking forward to all of it because I think you are the bomb.com. I've been watching your work for a really long time, and you just get better and better and better with each project. I saw you in one movie where you were playing someone's wife, and it was a little more serious of a situation. And that character could have easily been one note, where it was the wife situation could have been a very subservient thing, but you took it to a whole other level. And I think nobody else would have been able to do that but you, because you have a very
Oh,
strong sense of self. You have a very strong sense of womanhood, and you have a very strong sense of how your characters are going out into the world and inhabiting the audiences that watch them. So having said that, thank you so much for your time, Priyanka.
oh,
I
you're so
appreciate you.
kind. Thank you for your encouragement. That means a lot to me.
My
Thank you.
pleasure. Bye-bye.
Happy holidays, darling.
Happy
Bye.
holidays. I meant what I said. You know, Priyanka, people be sleeping on this is the thing that kind of annoys me, but not really. It kind of annoys me that people think that actresses that come from beauty pageants or that are beautiful, like Priyanka, like Halle Berry, that for some reason, because they're beautiful, that there's no substance to their acting. Those dolls can act, and they're super, super smart. So, yes, Miss Priyanka Chopra Jonas, I meant what I said, and thank you for that. So, let's talk a little bit about the Matrix Resurrection, shall we? So, this is the fourth chapter, like I said, and Neo is now working at a marketing firm, child, the shenanigans, and he has to decide whether he gonna take that red pill or that blue pill. Can't say which one he took because you know the movie's coming out and they don't want us to spoil it like they didn't want us to spoil the Spider-Man joint. So you know there's that. But um you'll see when it comes out. But let me tell you something. Anybody that has seen or loved The Matrix, you're going to get your entire life. There's a lot of footage that is used from the previous three versions. Kind of love that. Kind of love that the Matrix has always been a franchise that touts diversity in terms of different types of people from different lanes of life, different colors, different ethnicities. And this time the women are running shit. The women are running shit in Matrix Resurrections. And I was down for all of that. There are some surprise cast members along the way. So again, I don't want to be that chick that's spoiling shit. So I'm not gonna say who they are, but you're gonna lose but people that are friends of the franchise are gonna lose their shit when they see it. I'm just saying. Um the action sequences are fierce, especially that very last one. It gave me life. I was loving every minute of it. Now, you know, like every franchise that's popular like this, you're gonna have some people that gonna nitpick it to death and have some things they hate and have some things they like. But listen, true fans of the franchise, they're not gonna mind the recap of the clips. They're not gonna mind that, you know, it might be a little slow here and there, and they're not gonna mind some other things that I'm not gonna talk about. But they're going to love it. Trinity is back. Neo is back. They got Yahya Abdul Mateen as Morpheus. Is all coming down, and you're going to love it. And it's hitting theaters for 1 week only, and then I think it's either gonna come. It's going to stream or go nationwide, but I know it's hitting theaters for 1 week only. At least that's what the press releases and the TV ads keep saying. So that's what I have to say about that. It's written by Lana Wachowski, who did the other three. It has Keanu Reeves as Neo, Carrie Ann Moss as Trinity, Pinkett Smith as Niobe, Priyanka Chopra is playing Sati, Neil Patrick Harris is playing the analyst, Jonathan Groff is Agent Smith, and Yahya Abdul Mateen is Morpheus. And just to round it out, to give a nice little synopsis at the end, we return to a world of two realities: one, everyday life, which is where I said he was working at a marketing firm, and the other, what lies behind it, to find out if this reality is a construct or whether Neo truly knows himself. Mr. Anderson will have to choose to follow the white rabbit once more, just like Alice in Wonderland. All right, let me talk a little bit about Spider-Man Gone Home before we get into this interview with my girl, Miss Carrie Ann, and I have a little tidbit of info I want to tell you about her. Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm going to do a quick little retrospective before we get into it, but let me just tell you that it is a Columbia Pictures joint. It hit theaters over the weekend on 12/17. It has been the highest grossing film since we went into the pandemic, grossing more than $250 million. And it may be even more than that as I'm speaking, because the ticket prices just the gross keeps ticking up. And I think that 250 million total is just domestically. domestically. That doesn't even count what it's making internationally. It's directed by John Watts. It's once again starring Tom Holland, who's rounding out this trifecta of the Spider-Man franchise with his leading lady Zendaya, who plays MJ. There's lots of Easter eggs and references and surprise stars. There's fans of the Spider-Man franchise are gonna lose their mind, just like the ones of the Matrix. They gonna lose. I love how 2021 is going out with the superhero joints, and that each fans of each of these franchises are going to lose their minds because there's going to be something going on for everybody. I'm telling you, you're going to lose your mind and live your entire life, because I lived my entire life when I watched it, because I love me some Spider-Man. It is a huge love letter to the entire franchise, which is a Marvel joint. So at the end of a Marvel joint, they always got to leave us hanging for one more Spidey adventure. So in 2022, we got Morbius coming with Jared Leto. But that's all I'm going to say about Spider-Man No Way Home. But I do want to give you this little what is it? A little tag trip down memory lane. So we first ran into Spider-Man in 2002 when it was just called Spider-Man. And there were 3 films directed by Spider Raimi, Sam Raimi, and they all starred Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. We met some villains along the way. We met Alfred Molina along the way as Doc Ock. We met Venom, we met Sandman, we met Green Goblin in those 3 films with Tobey Maguire. Then we got to The Amazing Spider-Man, which introduced a whole new Spider-Man to the franchise, played by Andrew Garfield. And then we have Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy. Again, we get introduced to some new villains along the way, the Green Goblin, Rhino, Jamie Foxx, Electro. And then he does Spider-Man for 3 films. And then that leads us into the one that we have now, Mr. Tom Holland. And in between that, we had Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which they took it and made it animated. And the film actually won an Oscar for that. So that was kind of cool. And they made Peter Parker a Afro-Latino Brooklyn teen, named Miles Morales. So that was kind of cool. And I really love that one too. This third chapter in Watts's Spider-Man, the one that is out now, it sees Spider-Man get paid a visit. Well, he pays a visit to Doctor Strange, and he asks Doctor Strange to help change events to help protect his identity, because people knowing that he's Peter, as we saw in the last one, everybody knows that he's Peter Parker, and that is starting to affect everyone around him, and he's feeling some kind of way about that. So there are some shenanigans that go down that kick off a multiverse that affects the rest of the MCU that follows. So that is the quick synopsis of all the Spider-Mans, all 8 of them. And then Morbius, which is coming to, it's getting its own standalone spinoff. There's no Spider-Man in this one, I don't think, but Michael Keaton's Vulture is set to appear in this Morbius film, which is due out in January 2022. So that is that. So now let's get into this interview, my last one of the night, with Carrie Moss, who plays Trinity in the Matrix franchise. I met Carrie Moss when I first moved to Los Angeles in acting class, and we talk about that in the course of this interview. So I won't ruin it for you. I'll let you just watch it in the interview. But I have not seen her since that acting class, so it was nice to reunite with her on screen. So take a look and a listen to this interview with Trinity herself, Miss Carrie Moss, in The Matrix Resurrections. Hey, Carrie.
Hi, Carla. How are you?
I am great. So listen, I know you don't remember this, but we have something in common. When I first moved to LA, you were in acting class with me, with Sandy Marshall. You were about to go do the first Matrix. I remember being in that class, and when the class was over, Sandy was all, so let's say goodbye to Carrie Ann. She's going off to film a movie. And I was like, yeah, we won't be seeing her ever again. And we didn't.
I met my husband in that acting class.
Did you?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I totally remember. This is crazy.
It's bananas. But
wow.
Y'all got us taking that red pill, and in the 4th chapter. What the hell?
Yeah.
Did you? So how did the phone call go when they called you and said, so listen, we're going to do a 4th version. Are you in or are you out?
Is usually when something like this is happening. I mean, I've never been in this situation before, so I'm not, but in general, it's your team that tells you, right? It's like your agents and your managers. But Lana texted me, and it was me that told them. So that was kind of neat. That's sort of a shift of energy. But it was Lana texting me, asking if I wanted, if I could talk, and then telling me about this. And I literally had to sit down. I was so overwhelmed at the idea, so excited. I felt like what a gift from the universe for me at this time in my life to get to be part of it again and to get to play Trinity again. I mean, I was just so moved, and I still am. I'm still processing the fact that I got to do that again, that we got to do that again.
And listen, I'm like, homegirl don't age. You got some black going on up in there somewhere.
I wish.
Girl, you don't age. I didn't see nothing nowhere. But how did you train for that? Because it's been a minute.
Yeah, we did a lot of training. I mean, that was more challenging for sure this time around in terms of just like the body, like losing weight, getting toned, getting strong. I really didn't want to feel any desperation, because that's like the root of all evil for me and my mental state with my body, right? So I wasn't trying to look like Trinity 20 years ago, but I wanted to be strong and healthy. And I've had 3 children, and I don't work out on a regular basis. It's like I had some work to do, but I did so slow and steady, and that felt really good. And I had a lot of support to do that. I had a great trainer and amazing food and amazing supplements and all of that. So that was great. And then all the martial arts, I had again a great team of artists that were helping me to learn, and then of course the team that taught me how to jump off a building. And I mean, there's all those things, right? That being in a Matrix movie, you're so lucky you get to do all this crazy, amazing stuff.
Well, Carrie Ann, that's my time, but I just wanted to say thank you. And I'm so excited for you to be able to have this full circle moment of meeting you in class at the beginning of your career and now seeing you 4 chapters in. Congratulations.
Wow. Thank you so much. So nice to see you. What fond memories of that time. I think back, and interestingly enough, remember how Sandy in those classes, we would have repetition and she throws ideas and you're in the middle of the work and she's throwing you those things. Lana really works that way. Our director now, she's created this entire way of working where that's what it feels like. It reminded me of being in Sandy's classes in terms of being able to be, it wasn't just beginning and end, start, finish. It was like opening and then, anyway. So I've been thinking a lot about that time in Sandy Marshall's class and what a profound time that was for a lot of us. A lot of us grew a lot in there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Mama.
Thanks for reminding me. Bye.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I vividly remember being in that class with her, and I remember when they were like, "Okay, she's gonna go do this movie," and we were like, "Bye," and we were like, "Where's Carrie Ann?" And then we saw the movie, and it was like, "Oh, now we know where Carrie Ann is, and we know she ain't coming back." But thank you, Carrie Ann and Priyanka, for taking time to talk to me. I really appreciate that. And it was good to see you again, Carrie Ann. And again, congratulations on all your success with the Matrix franchise. Now, hold up, wait a minute, y'all. We at the end of the show, but I got some things I need to tell you. There will not be a live show next week, December 27th. It will be taped, and it will be a retrospective of everything that has happened for the Curvy Critic in 2021. Oh my God, I can't wait to look at that myself. It's going to be a nice little video package that's going to be put together, and I'm sure there'll be some tears and some laughter and some shocks and all of that. I'm also going to talk about Cyrano and Belle. And if I get a chance to see Scream 2022, I will talk about that as well. If not, I'll talk about Scream next year, honey, when it comes out. And then after the show on the 27th, we will not be back live until January 10th. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. I hope that you get to spend it with those that you love. Don't ever let a day go by that you don't tell somebody that you love, you care about them. Pick up the phone, give them a hug. And don't let that just be a mindset and an energy that you have during the holidays. Have it be something that you do all year round. You'd be surprised how much those little things affect somebody and makes their day. So again, this is episode 193 of The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging with us, sister. Thanks for hanging in there with me, Brandon, as always.
Thank you so much, MP Legacy, for popping in. If this is your first time joining me, give me a big thumbs up on YouTube to let me know you were here. Click that bell for notifications and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, honey, I will see y'all on December 27th via tape. And then after that, on January 10th. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and love, peace, and hair grease until the next time, baby. Deuces.